ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्या ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदामयं ददाति स्वापदन्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरौ श्रीयुतपादकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणसिन्धो दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुतदेवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यो च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। We must be talk on the subject of, they titled it The Soul and Cosmos and God.
No, it's okay.
Goodbye. No, actually, you know, each one of those could take a seminar from 7 to 10 days at least. We've got half an hour. But, so what we're going to do is take kind of an overview of the whole situation. You know, covering some points as we can, some major points. If we can first understand about this actual title, it could be translated as Sambandha Gyan. And as you know, in our Vaishnava theology, Gaudiya Vaishnava theology, it has three parts. And that is Sambandha Abhideya Prayojan, which roughly translates, Sambandha means relationships. Bandha, to join, Sama, together, Sambandha. So that's the initial fundamental understanding of where we are now and what is the relationship between ourselves and the cosmos and God, kind of more or less in theory at that point, initially. Secondly, Abhideya is the means to the end, Abhideya. So that means the spiritual practice that we engage in, the 9 processes of devotional service, hearing, chanting, remembering, and so on. And Prayojan means the end or the goal, which is love of God, love of Krishna. So, you know, we can think of it like as what we're talking about here now, Sambandha, is a kind of, at least in the beginning, a more or less theoretical understanding of the soul and God and the cosmos, the material world. So it would be a bit like if you imagine then you have to cross through a very big jungle, and you're standing before you've entered the jungle or the forest, and you have to cross it and go to the other side where the jungle is finished, and that is the clear part. So in the beginning it's just you're looking at the jungle and the forest, and you're understanding and deciding what should be the approach. So I'm here, this is the goal over there, this is the way to go. But initially you are just assessing the situation, what is before you, what is in front of you. Another example might be like, you know, the military commanders before a battle. They're seeing what is the strength of the enemy in their different divisions, how to approach, what would be the approach, the line of attack, and so forth. Then, of course, the later stages in the fighting period of war. Then, in that time, many things can happen, and that's the time when most progress is made, advancing, sometimes retreating, and many things, and to attain the ultimate victory, the goal on the other side. So initially, we're just looking at the things, the elements we have to deal with. Like a chemist or an alchemist, they have so many elements, and they're going to combine them in certain ways to produce something. So, otherwise, if we get too much involved in all the details of things, you can lose sight of it. You know, it's a bit like not seeing the wood for the trees. You know the expression. You're so much focused on a particular tree, you can't see the whole wood, and that's not good either. So the first thing to understand is the three of these are actually one. You know, God is one. So we're describing them as different. The different energies, the Jiva Shakti and the Maya Shakti, the cosmos, and then the Lord. But actually God is one, and everything is His energy. The Jiva souls are part of His marginal energy, and the material world, the cosmos, is the so-called inferior energy. So we're looking at like that in separate parts. But that's only from our human point of view. Actually, everything's one in the sense. But that oneness, of course, we believe in Vaishnava line of theology is differentiated, not undifferentiated, like the monists. So there is, we can say, variety in oneness, and oneness in the variety also. So the first thing, really, if we're looking at the soul, I mean, if you just say the word soul, people immediately think, what's the soul of a person, or what's the soul of anything, what's the soul of an organization, what's the soul of... It is the inner essence, the actual inner being, the most irreducible part of a thing. As in the Bhagavad Gita says, soul is indivisible and irreducible, unchangeable, eternal. So different faith traditions, they describe the soul in different ways, but generally speaking, their understanding is to a degree partial. For example, in the Judaic traditions, that's Judaism, Islam, Christianity, they talk about the soul. The Muslims call it the ruh, it's our inner being, our inner self. But where that is in the body and how it's working, it's not very, very clearly explained. Sometimes they say the soul is everywhere at once, by its energy. Also, there's no clear distinction between the soul, the intellect, and the mind. Generally, they're kind of fused together. So, or they talk about the higher soul and the lower soul. This is very common in the Christian tradition. They talk about the animal soul and the spiritual soul. What they actually mean is the animal part of our being, the eating, sleeping, mating, and defending part, the basic motor functions that drive the being on to propagate the species and continue to exist in the material world, is really what they mean by the animal soul. And then the higher soul, we would understand it to be, the conscience, the subtle part. But in Vaishnava philosophy, we don't make a distinction between the soul and the spirit like they do in a lot of places. This distinction is really artificial, because saying that only humans have a soul and other beings, other life forms, plants and animals, etc., have a spirit but not a soul, that's what they say. So consequently then, it's all right to deal with them in any way, to kill them, to eat them, to exploit them, because they don't have that higher part, that soul, which only a human being has. But we say the soul and spirit, it's just different descriptions of the same element, the same being. The jiva, we say the jiva soul. Jiva means living, animate. So if you go to Bhagavad Gita, you see descriptions of the soul there, given by Krishna, many verses in the 2nd chapter. When he's describing to Arjuna about trying to exhort Arjuna to fight, and the arguments that Arjuna is giving, why he shouldn't fight. Why should I kill my elders and my seniors? That would be very sinful. And that would also destroy the family traditions. It would also stop the offerings to the ancestors. If you don't satisfy the ancestors and pray for them and try to support them, help them to progress in the afterlife, then that brings a hellish situation to the present dynasty. And so then, of course, if the men are all killed, then there'll be so many orphans, so many widows. Then the chances that the ladies will then, by wrong combination, they will produce bad population. So many good arguments he gave Arjuna, from scripture also. But Krishna basically discounted them all and said, first of all, you're speaking like a pundit, but actually you don't know. The first thing is that, what about the soul? What is the nature of the soul? You cannot kill them, you cannot be killed by them. The soul is indivisible, eternal, in so many verses that way. But then he says, interestingly, but even if you say, or you believe, or you use the argument that there's no such thing as an eternal soul, that the being comes into existence at birth, or conception, or birth, whichever you like, exists for some time, and at death ceases to exist. So even if you use that type of argument, and he mentions, as we know, that's the Buddhistic concept about no eternal soul. But even if you use that argument, you still have to fight, you still have to do your duty. Because at the time that you do exist, between your non-existence and then your future non-existence, in the time that you exist, what are you going to do? You have to do something. So you have to do your duty even then. And he mentions here, Srila Prabhupada, that, of course, Bhagavad Gita was spoken 5,000 years ago. It was before Buddhism came on the scene. Before Lord Buddha appeared, it was 2,500 years ago, 500 BC, before Christ. So this was long before that, but such a philosophy was always existing in the world. And he says here, there's always a class of philosophers, almost akin to the Buddhists, who do not believe in the separate existence of the soul beyond the body. When Lord Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita, it appears that such philosophers existed, and they were known as the Lokayatikas and Vaibhashikas. These philosophers maintain that life symptoms or soul takes place at a certain mature condition of material combination. So that's like the Buddhistic idea. They say consciousness